The courtroom is filled with murmurs, the kind that make your spine tingle, and the air get thick with heaviness. Meri Brown stands up, all eyes on her, as she steps up to the witness stand. For years, she has been the quiet one, the shadow wife forgotten in Kody's presence. But today, her voice will not shake. Today, she has something no one was expecting to hear. She grips the microphone, takes a deep breath, and her lips curve into the faintest defiant smile. Then she speaks, and the words shatter the silence like glass. I've moved on, and I'm not alone anymore. Gasps course through the courtroom. Kody goes rigid, his jaw clenching, as Robyn grasps his arm in shock. Christine angles forward, eyes wide with shock and pride. And in that one electric moment, the dynamics of power shift for good. But now I'd like to ask you, do you believe Meri deserves this opportunity for happiness? Or is she stepping over a line that will never be mended? Let me know in the comments below, before we jump into this storm. Meri occupies the witness stand, the fluorescent lights overhead shining with a harsh spotlight cruelty. Her palms lie flat upon the wood before her, and for the first time in years, she doesn't squirm, doesn't jump. The courtroom waits. Every inhale, every rustle of fabric on a seat, every cough from the spectator area is thunder in the quiet. Kody slouches forward, fists curled. He can't even process what he heard. For 40 years, Meri has been a specter at his elbow, silent, obedient, ignored. But now she's speaking with flames, and it frightens him. The judge clears his throat. Mrs. Brown, he begins cautiously, you're saying you've moved on? Tell this court what you mean by that. Meri's chest rises with a deep breath. She looks not at the judge, not at Kody, but directly at Christine in the gallery. For the briefest moment, her lips quiver into a smile. I mean, she begins softly, that I've found someone who sees me, someone who doesn't make me feel invisible. The gallery is filled with murmurs. Robyn's hand flies up to her mouth, eyes wildly flicking in Kody's direction, who appears to be about to burst. Janelle fidgets in her chair, divided between intrigue and allegiance. Christine, on the other hand, crosses her arms and leans back, her eyes sparkling with something sinister, pride intertwined with retribution. What would you do if someone you cared about finally got up and shared a truth that had the potential to alter everything? The judge bangs his gavel once, calling for quiet. Proceed, he orders. Let us know who this individual is. Meri pauses. The silence stretches so thin, it seems like it's going to snap. She hears her own heartbeat thundering in her ears. She recalls every night she wept alone, every second Kody preferred Robyn to her, every promise broken. And now, for the first time, she's not afraid to let the world see her scars. Her voice stabilizes. His name is Michael, she says. The room gasps once more. Not only has she moved on, it's that she's had the audacity to give him a name. Michael, a man not of this polygamous life, a man who embodies everything Kody tried to keep hidden from his wives. Kody slaps his hand down on the table, standing halfway up. This is a charade, he thunders. She's doing this to shame me, to destroy this family. The judge squints. Mr. Brown, you will sit down and not say another word until you are spoken to. With reluctance, Kody flops back into his chair, but his chest is heaving with angry breathing. His eyes blaze into Meri's face, which she is pointedly refusing to meet. For once the tables are turned in her favor. Sometimes the smallest moment of courage can tip an entire balance of power. Don't you think? Meri leans in closer to the microphone. Michael did not steal me away. I was not tricked. I was not seduced. I was already gone, long before he entered my life. Kody made sure of that. Christine cocks her head to one side, suppressing a smirk. It's the first time anyone has ever said aloud what they've all considered in secret, that Kody was the one who shattered this family before anyone else ever came along. The judge makes a note on his notepad. Glances up. Mrs. Brown. You realize that this testimony might influence the course of this case. If what you're testifying about is true, it calls into question the integrity of the family arrangement your husband maintains. He's trying to safeguard. Meri nods resolutely. That's why I'm saying it. Robyn leapt to her feet, unable to hold back. Her voice breaks as she says, "She's lying. She's just trying to ruin everything we've worked for." Kody loves her. He always has. The courtroom erupts into noise and chatter. The judge thunders his gavel again and again. "Order. I will have order." Meri then addresses Robyn, her eyes slitted, her voice ice cold. "You think you know love, Robyn. But you've never been invisible, have you? You've never been the one who's left. Love isn't being picked when it's easy. Love is looking at someone, day after day, even when it's tough." Michael looks at me. And that was something Kody never did. The ensuing silence is crushing. Even the judge appears shaken. Pretend you're sitting in this courtroom, seeing a woman finally escape after all these years of silence. Wouldn't you want to find out what comes next? The judge leans forward, his spectacles moving down the bridge of his nose. "Mrs. Brown, you've called this individual, Michael. I want to know how this relationship started. Was it before you departed your marital residence, or subsequent?" Meri swallows hard, her throat becoming parched. The question is straightforward, but the burden behind it would be suffocating. She understands that every statement she makes here will be analyzed, spun around, used against her. Nevertheless, she squares her shoulders and tries to hold the judge's eye. "It started," she says slowly, "with a message I hadn't anticipated. A kind message. A message that I was important. And for the first time in years I felt noticed." Kody emits a harsh laugh, bitter and cutting. "A message? That's all it takes? Some random person tells you you're special and you just discard 30 years of family?" Meri's head tilts toward him. And for the first time there is no fear in her eyes, only flames. "No, Kody, you threw it away when you decided that I was no longer worth your time. You threw it away when you made Robyn the only thing that mattered to you." The atmosphere in the courtroom thickens. Robyn holds on to Kody's arm even harder, shouting anxiously in his ear. But he doesn't budge. He looks at Meri with anger and incredulity, as if the woman standing there is a stranger to him. "What would you do if the person who ignored you just realized you are strong enough to leave?" Christine leans forward in her chair, her eyes shining. She has been silent until now, but the corners of her mouth curl upward with satisfaction. For years Christine begged Meri to stand up for herself. Now, observing her, Christine is filled with a mixed sense of pride and regret. Pride that Meri is finally free. Regret that it had to end like this. The judge waves for Meri to proceed. And this friendship became something else. Meri nods. Her tone becomes gentle. And for the first time on the stand her face softens. It isn't steel or defiance. It's gentleness. "Yes. Michael taught me patience. He listened when I talked. He didn't interrupt. He didn't treat me like a burden. And gradually, I figured out. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living." A murmur sweeps through the courtroom. The gallery leans closer, hungry for every detail. Even the court stenographer seems to pause, her fingers hesitating above the keys, as if the weight of Meri's words deserves more than a transcript. Kody slams his hand on the table a second time. "Living? Betraying your family, living." His voice shatters, the rage spilling over into desperation. "You stood with me for decades. You made promises. You swore allegiance. And now you sit here showing some stranger off in front of the world." Meri doesn't blink. Her eyes nail him. "You think silence equals loyalty. You think it equals allowing myself to die a little bit more each day while you play husband to one woman only. But loyalty isn't suffering, Kody. It isn't becoming invisible. It isn't erasing yourself so someone else can take center stage. Loyalty takes two, and you gave me none." Sometimes the truth breaks chains, but this time it shatters the whole cage. Robyn can't contain herself anymore. Her chair scrapes against the floor harshly as she leaps to her feet. "You're distorting everything," she wails. Her voice shakes, choked with tears. "You don't know how much effort Kody made. He gave you all he could, and you spat on that. Don't you dare point fingers at him for your loneliness." The judge slams down his gavel, but Robyn is gone. Her mascara smudges on her cheeks as she goes on. "You're just bitter, Meri. Bitter because he chose me. Bitter because you couldn't handle being strong enough to remain. And now you want us all to appear like villains." Meri doesn't avert her eyes. "I don't have to make you look like anything, Robyn. The truth is doing that all by itself." The room falls silent. The words stand suspended there, weighing more than stone. Even Christine, who has been silently cheering her on, feels the burn. She knows Robyn's grief, knows the frantic scramble of defending something that's running through your fingers. But she knows Meri's correct too. If you were in that chair, whose words would slice you more deeply, Robyn's defense, or Meri's defiance? Finally, the judge holds up his hand, demanding silence. In a booming voice, he says, "That's enough. This is not a battlefield of personalities. If anyone speaks out of turn again, I will clear this courtroom." Robyn collapses back into her seat, her sobs dampened against a tissue. Kody sits stiffly, his jaw so set that it appears to be on the verge of cracking. And Meri? Meri sits higher than ever, her chin up, breathing normally, but beneath, her pulse pounds, because she knows this is just the start. The worst of it hasn't even begun. The questions that hurt worse than anything else wait in the wings. And she knows whatever the next thing she tells him is, it won't just hurt Kody, it will kill the very image he's worked so hard to maintain. What if the next thing Meri shares is the one that alters everything forever? The judge reclines back in his chair, tapping his pen against the wooden bench. The pressure of the silence weighs upon them all, heavy and choking. He clears his throat. "Mrs. Brown, you've discussed this man. Michael, for clarity's sake I have to ask, how did this affair start? When did you first meet him?" Meri's lips press together. For a moment she doesn't answer. Her eyes dart across the courtroom. Christine watching intently, Janelle frozen in her seat, Robyn trembling beside Kody. She knows that revealing the truth will change everything, not just for her, but for everyone. Finally she exhales. Her voice is quiet, but steady. "I met Michael in Flagstaff, at a bookstore." The words linger like a spark before an explosion. A bookstore. Mundane. Innocuous. But as soon as she utters the word, Kody's expression distorts with anger. "A bookstore." He spits, his tone low but deadly. "So while I was sweating day and night holding this family together, you were browsing for fairy tales." Meri doesn't flinch. "I wasn't seeking him, Kody. I wasn't searching for anything. I was just present. And he was nice. He asked me what I was reading. No one had ever asked me that in years." The gallery stirs, whispers rippling through the rows. People lean closer, captivated, not just by the story, but by the softness in Meri's voice. For the first time she isn't angry, she isn't defensive, she's remembering, and it shows. Sometimes the quietest beginnings lead to the loudest consequences. The judge nods. "So this began as a friendship?" "Yes," Meri answers, her gaze growing gentle. "We spoke of books, of life. And I laughed. For the first time in ages. A real laugh. Not the stiff one you offer at family gatherings. Not the forced one you muster when someone asks how you're doing. A laugh that grew from somewhere deep within me. I had forgotten what it felt like." Christine changes position in her chair, her eyes shining. She recognizes that laugh. She's heard it a time or two, way back when things hadn't been so serious. When Meri was still herself. To see her recall it now nearly shatters Christine apart. But Kody can't accept it. He pounds his fist on the table, booming. "This is adultery masquerading as poetry. You broke your vows, Meri. Don't try to make it sound like fate." The judge snaps. "Mr. Brown, calm down." Kody slumps back into his chair, fuming. Robyn puts a shaking hand on his shoulder and speaks frantically in his ear, but he hardly hears her. His gaze is fixed on Meri, and his rage is unchecked. Meri finally looks at him. Her tone turns icy, her words slicing as finely as glass. "Betrayal?" She spits the word at him. "You betrayed me before Michael ever said hello. You betrayed me when you stopped looking at me, when you ate your dinner by yourself, and left me to sit alone, slipping into Robyn's realm. Don't you dare claim I cheated on you first." Gasps spread through the courtroom. Christine's lips part and lean forward, shock. Janelle's face contorts in a complex combination of sympathy and guilt. Even the judge pauses, caught up in the weight of Meri's words. What would you do if someone finally turned your own accusation around against you? In front of everyone in the world. The judge clears his throat, steadying the room. "Mrs. Brown, let me remind you that this court isn't present to adjudicate private feelings. Keep it in the facts. When did the romance enter this friendship?" Meri's breath catches. This is the question she dreaded. Her eyes flash shut, as if calling up strength. It happened gradually. There was no moment. But if I have to pick, it was the evening he escorted me to my car after a book signing. It was raining. He offered me his coat. And for the first time in years I felt safe. Robyn emits a strangled sob. She covers her face with her hands, refusing to hear. Kody clamps his jaw so hard that his teeth are grinding noisily. Christine sets her lips, repressing tears of her own. And Janelle simply looks at Meri, her face impassive. Meri goes on, her voice shaking now. I told myself it was nothing, that I was dreaming. But he called the next day, and the day after. And before long, I was looking for those calls more than I was looking forward to anything from home. The gallery is quiet, each word ringing out like a confession in a cathedral. Did you ever desire something that intensely that you realized just how hollow you were without it? Kody erupts to his feet, not able to remain sitting. His voice cracks with anger and desperation. Tell them the truth, Meri. Tell them how you snuck around, how you lied to me. Tell them how you betrayed this family with your secrets. The judge slams the gavel. Mr. Brown, one more incident, and you will be thrown out of this courtroom. But it is done. Everyone's attention returns to Meri. Her lips quiver, her fingers gripping the sides of the witness stand. She has no idea what she is going to say next, but she knows that whatever it is, it will save her, or sentence her. Slowly she lifts her head, her gaze fastened on the judges, and in a voice calmer even than she had anticipated, she states, yes, I kept it a secret, because I knew the truth would destroy him. But now, the truth will set me free. The courtroom gasps, the audience erupting into pandemonium. Christine puts her hand over her mouth. Janelle's eyes widen. Robyn cries all the harder. And Kody appears to be about to shatter completely. And just when the storm seems to have reached a crescendo, Meri leans forward into the microphone, her voice falling to a whisper. But that's not the whole truth. What if the true secret hasn't even been announced yet? The courtroom is pandemonium. The air is filled with the murmur of voices and the sound of footsteps, as if the walls themselves cannot hold the significance of what Meri has just spoken. The judge bangs his gavel over and over, his voice standing out above the din. Order! This courtroom will come to order. Slowly the voice is quiet, but the tension is still there, heavy and crushing. Meri is on the witness stand, her chest heaving with labored breathing. She knows what she's going to say will not only crack the very foundation of Kody's universe, it will incinerate it. Kody glares at her from over the room, his fists shaking on the table. Robyn grasps his arm, whispering wildly, her tears ripping her cheeks. Christine leans forward, her eyes fixed on Meri, daring her to utter it. And Janelle, she doesn't flinch at all. Her face is white, her body tense, like a woman waiting for an earthquake. Meri's voice is quiet at first, but the silence makes her words thunder. I did not just find someone who helped me laugh. I did not just find someone who heard me. I found someone who gave me hope, and I can't keep this hidden any longer. She stops speaking. The whole room freezes. I am creating a life with Michael. A future. A marriage. The words crash through the courtroom like a tidal wave. Gasps ring out. One person in the gallery gasps and screams. Christine buries her hands over her mouth. Janelle's eyes leap open in horror. Robyn grabs at her chest as if she'd been stabbed. And Kody rises to his feet, his chair crashing to the ground behind him. You're marrying him? His voice is a roar, splintered and enraged. You dare appear before me, in my presence, after all we have created, after all I have given up, and tell me you are marrying another man? Meri doesn't blink. Her gaze is fixed on his, unmovable. Yes, Kody, I am, because you ceased being my husband long ago, and I will not die, waiting for you to see me. How would you feel if you heard those words addressed directly to the man who spent years disregarding her? Relief or betrayal? The judge's voice grows louder. Mr. Brown, sit down now. But Kody turns his back on him. His voice quavers with fury. This is highest order betrayal. You're throwing away your faith, your vows, your family. You've been poisoning this home with your gall for years, and now you strut around with this stranger as your salvation? Robyn tugs at his arm, her voice shrill and desperate. Kody, stop, you're making things worse. But Kody shakes her off, and points a shaking finger at Meri. You believe this man's gonna save you, Meri? He doesn't even know what you are. He doesn't know what I've sacrificed. You believe love is rain jackets and sappy words in the bookstore? That ain't love. That's fantasy. And when he finds out who you actually are, he'll dump you like Kody. Meri's tone cuts through his harangue like a knife. Her eyes are brimming now, tears falling, but her shoulders are steel. Michael knows who I am, and he loves me for it. Not despite it. Not when it is convenient. Not when it makes him popular. He loves me because I am enough. Something you never believed. The ensuing silence is intolerable. Even the judge appears shaken. The courtroom is at a standstill, eyes glancing between the two of them as if onlookers at the periphery of a battlefield. Have you ever seen a moment where pain and reality intersect so forcefully that no one in the room can even bear to avert their gaze? Christine eventually speaks, her words shaking but distinct. Meri. Everyone looks at her. She swallows, her tears brimming. Do you love him? Meri rolls her head, her eyes growing soft. She doesn't blanch. Yes, with everything I have left. Christine gasped shakily, tears rolling down her face. There's grief there, but also pride. She knows what it costs to say those words. She knows what it means to finally choose yourself. But the storm has not yet passed. Not even remotely. The judge clears his throat, his voice strained. Mrs. Brown, you see the ramifications of this testimony. By stating intent to wed another, you are in effect unmaking the very marriage this case hinges upon. Do you understand what that would signify? Meri nods, her chin shaking but held high. I understand it would mean freedom. Robyn's cries ring out more loudly now, raw and hacking. She clings to Kody, who sits unmoving, his face flushed, his jaw clenched. He doesn't breathe, doesn't move. His gaze is fixed on Meri, hot with something darker than anger. Something that appears a great deal like hate. Freedom sometimes doesn't arrive quietly. It bursts in the midst of the tempest. And just as the judge is about to continue with the proceedings, Meri does talk again. Her tone low, but heavy. There's something else I have to say. Something I've kept secret from everyone. The judge hesitates, his eyes narrowing. Go on. Meri breathes deeply, her palms cradling the edge of the witness stand. The silence is stifling once more. The whole courtroom, waiting for what she has to say. And then she utters it. I'm not just marrying Michael. We're starting a family. The courtroom erupts into pandemonium. The courtroom feels like it's on fire. Everyone's heart is pounding as Meri's words sink in. She's planning a family with Michael. Murmurs echo through the gallery, like a storm rolling across a field. People are leaning forward, gripping benches, hanging on every word. Kody's face is white, ghost-like. His hands are shaking as he clutches the table's edge. Robyn speaks harshly into his ear, but he doesn't hear her. His eyes are fixed on Meri, blazing with anger, betrayal, and outrage. How can you? He snarls. You just discard everything we've made, everything we've had. And now, a child? Meri throws back her head, her face resolute but melancholy. You think this is all about you, Kody. This is about me, about living, finally being seen, finally being happy. If you can't deal with that, then that's not my issue. Have you ever seen someone seize control of their life in the most dramatic way possible? Robyn leaps up from her chair, mascara streaked down her face. Kody, you can't let this pass. She's killing the family. Look at her. She's laughing at you. Meri isn't laughing. She isn't even wincing. She just stands up straighter, her voice steady but intense. No one's laughing, Robyn. I'm finally alive after all these years. And you're hanging on to what you think is important, rather than what's actually true. Christine leans forward in her chair, clenching back tears. She understands perfectly how Meri feels. She understands the years of isolation, the sense of invisibility, the constant battle to be heard. But she also understands the hurricane this discovery will brew. Janelle sits motionless, her hands clasped together in her lap. Her eyes are wide, face pale, struggling to comprehend that Meri isn't simply moving on. She's constructing an entire new life, beyond the boundaries of their shared past. The judge raps his gavel. Order. Everyone must stay seated and quiet. But the courtroom is a powder keg, and nothing can halt it. Kody finally stands, voice trembling with fury. You think this is freedom? This is chaos. You're tearing this family apart. You're destroying me in front of everyone. Meri regards him calmly, her eyes shining with unshed tears. I am not destroying you, Kody. You destroyed this family when you lost interest. When you made Robyn your priority and put the rest of us in the background. I'm just taking my life back. Sometimes taking your life back feels like planting a bomb and letting it go off. Do you feel powerful yet? The suspense in the courtroom is intolerable. Robyn openly weeps now. Kody's jaw tightens so hard it seems like it could break. And Christine wipes away tears. Then Meri drops the next bomb, her tone gentle but biting. Michael knows all about me. He knows the errors, the hurts, the betrayals, and he loves me in spite of that. That's something I never had before, something I never had with any of you. Kody bangs his hand on the table once more, his complexion red with anger. You believe love is merely someone pretending to care? You believe you can negate decades of devotion in the face of flattery from a stranger? Meri shakes her head. No, love is someone who chooses you every day, even when it's hard, even when the world is against you. That's Michael. That's not you, Kody. And that's why I'm done waiting for you to see me. The courtroom gasps once more. Christine sits back, exhaling a trembling breath. Janelle closes her eyes, attempting to calm herself. Robyn hides her face in her hands, crying openly off the walls. The judge clears his throat. Mrs. Brown, I can see where you're coming from, but the court needs to weigh the repercussions of what you've done. You know that this will affect custody, finances, and the family's legal status? Meri's lips press into a line. I get it, but some consequences are worth enduring. Some truths are worth telling, regardless of how painful they are. When finally someone speaks their truth, the whole world shakes. Do you feel it too? The gallery leans forward as tension becomes intolerable. Kody's face is contorted in anger and incredulity. Robyn holds him like a lifeline. Christine brushes away a tear, but there is admiration in her eyes. Janelle appears shocked and stricken, torn between grief and shock. Meri slowly exhales, sensing the gravity of the moment, aware that this courtroom has seen a breaking point. But only when she believes the worst is past, does an attorney from the other side rise. Mrs. Brown, he states, tone icy and clipped. There's another issue to discuss. Some evidence has arisen indicating that your affair with Michael wasn't so exclusive. There are pictures, texts, and there are witnesses willing to come forward. The room becomes static. Kody's head whips around to the attorney. Robyn gasps. Christine leans forward holding her breath. Janelle's eyes blink wildly, unable to process the shock. Meri's stomach constricts. She knows that this is the time that may ruin her or solidify her freedom. What would you do if your deepest secret was going to be revealed in front of everybody and there was no going back?